Holland Cooke, media consultant, great friend of mine, hollandcooke.com, survivalspeech.com. He's got all kinds of stuff going on, travels the country, listens to radio, consults media folks, and he knows what's happening. Holland, good to have you with us.
Now, Ed, I should warn you at the beginning of the interview, if I don't like any of the questions you're asking, I'm going to blame the questioner and then ask to change the interview format. Is that fair?
That's right. You know, I said it's crazy. Here's the thing. Are consumers not smart enough to figure out what a good question is? I want answers. I want to know if Ben Carson had a professional relationship with this company, Manatech, and what was it? And I think it speaks to his character, his integrity, and how he views things. And now he comes out and flat out lies about it. Break down the freak show for us.
Yeah, and we've seen the videos bouncing around since the debate that put the lie to it. If his nose got any longer, it would have crashed through my TV screen. But you know who I really feel sorry for is Rick Santorum. Not that he's my guy, but he was the runner-up last time for the GOP, and he's an interesting guy, and he's not afraid to take a punch. I remember you interviewing him last time in Iowa, and he wasn't scared to talk to you, and you weren't scared to talk to him, and he's been around the block, and he's a smart guy, but they make him go sit at the kids' table. And putting him next to Bobby Jindal, I think, distorts our sense of who's viable and who's not as a candidate. Lindsey Graham is always good for a laugh. If you squint, he still looks like one of those Andy Griffith Show characters. But he's got the best one-liners, and he seems to be running for vice president. And George Pataki, sure, but, too crowded. I just don't know that anybody's paying attention. No. And then when you get to the varsity debate, I'm so struck by how everybody is disappointed by Jeb Bush. Regardless of your political stripe, you're disappointed by this guy. He's got $100 million in the bank. I've been to Iowa 4 times in 6 months, and the ads you see on TV there are PAC money. All of his big fat cat donors came out early, so they're probably maxed out. And it's hard to believe this guy would have a money problem, but he may. And as a speech coach, I've noticed that if you turn down the sound when Jeb Bush comes on TV, it's like watching Ted Kennedy in 1980. He just doesn't look like his heart is in it. Remember when Roger Mudd said, Senator Kennedy, why do you want to be president? You got a couple of minutes of haba, 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 haba. He seemed to be running to redeem the family name or something, and I'm told that consultants are begging Jeb Bush to stand up straight and get contact lenses, but he just equivocates so much, and he just doesn't look like his heart is in it. And the one unanimous critique you'll get on these debates is how disappointing he was. The Carson thing has yet to play out because his fibs are becoming apparent. I can't figure this guy out because the things he says are so outrageous, but he's got this delivery that kind of sounds like Truman Capote, and maybe people find that disarming. Here's the guy who says, I'm not politically correct, and now he wants the government to monitor speech on campus, all right?
And he doesn't want the debates on TV either. I mean, he's afraid of the vetting process. Look, I think this whole attack on CNBC is because they're trying to protect a minority candidate. And I think that they don't want their candidates really completely vetted. They've had enough Trump trouble, and they're looking to see if Rubio or Bush or someone else or Huckabee could resurrect themselves to the point where they could mount a serious threat. So if they're going to be stuck with Ben Carson, they better protect him. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, and the bigger debate audience you end up having, the longer the blooper reel is going to get. Look what happened 4 years ago. Rubio had an answer for all the Senate votes he missed, which is a issue very misunderstood out in America. A lot of these votes are procedural, et cetera, et cetera. And people are quick to say, yeah, well, Obama missed as many votes. But that comparison does not help Rubio. The last thing in the world he needs is to be compared to Obama.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And for him to say that the reason why he's missing him is because he's worried about Hillary Clinton being president, I mean, that is what a lame excuse. It just doesn't fly. All right, your observation about Bush is interesting. Where does that leave Bush? I mean, it's almost as if he's running against Rubio, and damn it, at least I'm going to beat the other guy from Florida. That's the way it's coming across.
Yeah, he's trying to play the long ball game, and there's a lot of logic in his narrative about I'm willing to lose the primaries to win the general, because time and again we have seen that what it takes to win the primaries is different than what it takes to win the general. And that and the bloopers, obviously, are what caught up with Romney. You got to be the same guy, and I think that Jeb figures he'll be the last man standing if everybody else bombs out. Mm-hmm. But nobody's getting eliminated yet. Ted Cruz seems to have emerged as the big star last time by pivoting with that incredibly well-phrased attack on the mainstream media.
Oh.
And, look at Huckabee gasping for oxygen. He's kind of turned into a shock jock of the right. He wants to have the sharpest soundbite of the night. So it's very tough being on such a crowded stage. You got to feel bad for Rand Paul. Thoughtful guy, way down on the end, kind of rolling his eyes about this.
Yeah.
Chris Christie had a great line with fantasy football, but they're all trying to cut through the clutter. And I think Jeb thinks he's going to outlast everybody else, and he'll have enough money in the bank to make it to the general. But you got to make it through the primaries first.
All right, Holland Cooke, media consultant with us, longtime friend of ours here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. You saw him on the Ed Show quite often.